you freestyle rap at all?
Not yet.
Doesn't it appear to be extremely coincidental that you guys arrest people right outside of Governor Newsom's press conference? Is this really just a show of power?
Patriots, this is Secret Service Sam. Welcome to Samson's World. Oh my God, it is a beautiful, thirsty Thursday. How is everybody doing out there in internet land? Come on into the feed. This is Samson's World, where court, comedy, culture, and your world collide. It's a big day. It is a big, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hold on. All right, just texting some peeps. All right, folks, Patriots, this is good. Come on into the feed. Bring it on in. Bring it on in slowly but surely. Hey, Silky Sweet, how are you doing? We've got a very, very exciting show for you today, Patriots. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. We are hitting it from all sides. It is a beautiful Thursday. I'm feeling good. I don't know if you can see, I was covering a case this morning, which is very interesting. It's a case Mark Garagos is trying, and a police officer from the LAPD, Officer Tipping, he was killed during a training exercise. Now, the crazy part about this is Officer Tipping, he was a whistleblower who was going to be talking about some rape allegations that had happened within the LAPD. And then coincidentally, he is killed during a training exercise, which is crazy because I'm sitting in court this morning and they're asking the officer, they're saying, did he have this red suit on? Which the red suit basically looks like a big, like a hockey goalie uniform, if you will, like head to toe, the neck, the chest plate, the helmet, everything, because basically what they're doing, it's a simulation for if somebody attacks LAPD, it's a training session. So normally the guy who's playing the perpetrator, the perp, is head to toe gear so they can't get hurt if they hit him with batons, fists, whatever it is, slam them. But this day, Officer Tipping did not have any headgear on. He didn't have a chest plate on. This is all coming out because originally they said he was protected, but he wasn't. And an Officer Quaylar slammed him on his head. He was paralyzed and then subsequently died of brain. He went brain dead. And it is just crazy because there's no video. They just did a reenactment. And they ruled it an accident. So this is the civil case where it's crazy. It's not criminal because it's very sus that this guy was going to whistleblow and leak on an alleged rape that had happened within the department that they were covering up. So they killed him to cover it up further, allegedly. But again, welcome to Samson's World. This is where court, comedy, and culture and your world collide. Who's there? Kelsey, so excited. I have it set to where every day you go live, I get the notification. Hey, Sam, that's amazing, Kelsey. And hey, that goes for everybody else. If you don't have that set up, please hit the notification because I go live every day at 5 p.m. EST, and I'll be here for you guys. When you need a friend, I'm here. Upset as a friend was used as a pawn and in a trial after sitting in jail for almost 4 years, the justice system said an innocent man guilty. All I believe is he is a Mexican and illegal, short of the story. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, there's so much injustice in our country and our justice system. It's brutal. It really is. Now, is everybody planning on watching the Super Bowl? Who are you rooting for? I said, do the mom. Who are you rooting for the Super Bowl, guide? Hold on. I will call. Sorry, I'm just texting with my real estate guy. So who are you guys rooting for the Super Bowl? Now, okay, there's the Seahawks versus the Patriots, but I mean, I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about who are you rooting for, Kid Rock or Bad Bunny? Where are you guys? Let me know in the comments. LOL, not a fan of the sport. I just watched the halftime show. Exactly. Me too, Silky Sweet. I mean, the Rams lost. I was hoping. Hold on. What do you think? Do you think I should get a guarantor? Question mark. If so, I'm fine with that. Just working. I'm renting one of my homes here in Los Angeles, so I'm just straightening out some paperwork while I'm on the podcast. Are you a Bad Bunny? Hey, Action Pack, good to see you, my friend. It's been a minute. Are you Bad Bunny or are you Kid Rock? Now, this is coming up online with Kid Rock, where his lyrics are resurfacing. Now, let me read to you what this lyric says. It's a little small for me to be able to read it here on my monitor. He says, young ladies, I like them underage. See some say that's statutory, but I say it's mandatory. That's from his 2001 song, Cool Daddy Cool, featuring Joe C. So it's just funny, Turning Point USA. And I saw this disgusting thing Erica Kirk said. She said, yeah, all these kids walking out of schools in California and protest of ICE. My son did yesterday. My daughter did yesterday. They had a walkout protest at their schools, which I think is beautiful. It's their First Amendment. And to see kids standing up for immigrants and their friends, because what I realize a lot of people don't understand is if you're somewhere where there's not a large immigrant population, say at your kid's school, you're not hearing from your kids and from their friends. Like my son and my daughter literally have friends who are scared to go to school. ICE has been to my son's high school twice in the last 3 weeks. So I think if you're not hearing that or experiencing that, your opinion on a lot of these things might vary. But Erica Kirk was saying, that side, they were just kids were walking out protesting ICE. And then she's saying our kids at our school were huddled around an American flag praying. And she's suggesting that those kids are better than the kids who walked out and were just exercising their First Amendment rights. Kid Rock is very self-incriminating. I mean, let's just be honest, guys. Kid Rock is a has-been. He was big in like the early 2000s. And on the Turning Point USA, between all of those artists, I think they said they have like 16 million monthly listeners, where Bad Bunny has almost 90 million monthly listeners. And Biden took showers with his daughter. Yeah, I know. We already got over that, guys. I thought we hit that yesterday. Send him into jail. The pedo halftime show. Yeah, that is true. The Kid Rock. They should call it the white trash traitor bash is what I call it. You're a has-been, Troy. That is so untrue. I'm in my prime, baby. If you only knew, Troy. And let me do this because I know everybody loves to talk that talk, but they don't walk the walk. Say it. I had some very lovely guests on yesterday who came on the show. So if you guys are, you guys are always super brave in the comments. But again, let me put this up there. That is the link to the show. Come into the live feed right now and let's have a conversation. He likes some underage like Diarrhea Donnie. That's hilarious. Oh, here we go. Bro, you sound so stupid. OMG, only 16 million listeners. You got 85 people watching and 70% are trolling your gay ass. Yeah, but I'm not playing the Super Bowl. Now, 16 million is a lot, but I'm comparing it to 85 million. Now, let me ask you a question since you seem to be a little bit slow. Would you rather have $16 million or $85 million? I'll give you a moment to think about that. And again, if you guys have the cojones, here's the link to my show, the feed, copy and paste that into your browser and come on the show and talk to my face and let's talk like men or women. If your prime is 85 people watching you, then I feel so fucking bad for you. Justin, no. Justin, we're up to 117 in the live feed right now. I've been up to 200 people in the live feed. We had 15,000 people, 15,000 views yesterday. So you guys might not know this, but I have been doing this podcast every day, 6 days a week now for probably like the last 4 months or so. And so it's very easy for you to say, oh yeah, 85 people. It is not easy to get anybody on a live feed. So believe it or not, 85 people is a lot. Like if this were a comedy show that I do and, there's 100 people here, that's a great audience. So thank you. It's not really an insult. And also, if you have the balls, come on my show and talk to my face. Please come talk to my face. Don't just be a keyboard warrior. Here's the link. Come on up. Where are the racist, fascist, MAGA, pedo-Nazis? They're coming, Richard. Give them a minute. They always come in. Did you erase my Kid Rock lyric making fun of them for being comas? It's so funny. People always say I erase comments. I don't even know how to erase comments, guys. I know how to. Let me see. Oh, I can actually delete comments, put user in timeout, or ban user, but I have not done any of that. So if you're not seeing your comment, I'm not sure. Only MAGA pedophiles will watch Kid Pedo. That's true. I would rather have 16 followers and be true to myself and not a media dumb sellout than 100 million. Interesting. Well, why don't you come on the program and talk about that to my face? I totally disagree with you. I would much rather have 16 followers and stick to who I am and support all Americans and believe in support in our Constitution. Proven fact. Study after study says conservatives, aka little Nazis like you, have lower cognitive abilities. Yeah, I think that is true. You should get a real job. Awesome. What do you suggest? Because I'm doing pretty well right now. I've got a few homes that I rent and real estate. I do comedy. I do advertising. I'm working now for the Midas Touch. I work for law firms doing a lot of their social media. I work for like Make-A-Wish programs where I make all of their content, produce stand-up specials. So thank you. Seem weird. Thank you, Kimski. Come on the show and talk to me in person and see if I'm weird in person. Anybody is invited, whether you agree or disagree. I'd prefer people who disagree. You support legal Americans. Yeah, I support anybody who is in this country attempting to do it the right way. Obviously, we all want the illegal pedos and rapists and killers out of our country, but people who are here and come here, they are afforded due process, and I support them. Can we see your feet? Of course you can, you little sick boy. Hold on. I'm in shorts. Do you see this? There you go. That's my leg. Did you guys like that? Glad I could help you out. The Brotherhood said that they would infiltrate America through Democrats because they have a lower IQ than they're easily tricked. Got it. Well, guys, Democrats and Republicans are both kind of, don't worry about it. It's we're trying to get out of some of this, but call in maggots. Yeah, any of you guys, come on. Come on. If you have the balls, let's go. Let's go. You wanted to see my feet? Come on and see them live. That's what's so funny is you guys talk so much shit in the comments, but you're not brave enough to actually come on and have a conversation in person. Thank you, Leprechaun. Kid Rock's music is hot trash truck juice. Yeah, it really is. And he's a has-been. Like, shouldn't that tell you something that Turning Point USA couldn't get anybody better than Kid Rock? Like, that's the best headliner you can get. I'm just saying you couldn't get anybody better than Kid Rock. And then the other two people I haven't even heard of. My parents immigrated through ports of entry and followed the law. We believe all should and support the deportation of those who broke immigration law. Yes, I agree. But you know what? They're arresting people like in immigration court while they're trying to come in. And you're a no one. Actually, that's not true. You can IMDb me, Derek, or arguably I'm more of a someone than you are. Remember when Kid Rock wrote that song that had a line about how cool he thought statutory rape was? Yeah, Jack, we just talked about it. It's so funny. Hey, Silky Sweet Sam, the issue is the due process takes too long and too expensive is why most do not go through the process to get legal laws for it. Yeah. Even Grinder Mike Johnson, allegedly, he was saying, yeah, it would take decades and decades. I love Trailer Park Rock and Roll, Go Kid Rock. Okay, that's cool. But who's like the updated Kid Rock now? You know what I mean? Maybe a has been and you are a never was. Thanks, Chico Boom. Come on in the show. Come on and talk. Why don't you guys come talk to a has been in real life? Come on the show. Come on and express your opinion. Let the world know your opinion. All you got to do is copy and paste that right there. Yeah, MAGA appears to be all MAGA. They're all puppets and clowns with all bark and no bite. You know what I mean? It's like all bark and no bite wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. You know what I mean? Yeah, Derek Clown, you've wrote it about 16 times, Derek. Come on the show. Come on the show and call me a clown to my face. There's the link. Call me a clown to my face. It takes some time to vet them, but they need to make sure the people that they allow in our country are safe. So I understand the process, but it shouldn't take 10 to 15 years. Agreed. Why is everybody so pissy? I don't know. People, the MAGAs come on my show and they get so angry for no reason. And then they won't talk to me. And I got to tell you guys, if this is how you guys do relationships in your real life, it's hard to have a good relationship if you won't talk to somebody. Derek, you've now called me a clown. You keep copying and pasting it in. Come on the show. Come on the show and talk to me. Any MAGA, I double dog dare you. Thank you for going through the comments. Democrats voted no on a bill that would deport rapists, pedophiles, and murderers. At what point is Derek considered a spammer? Yeah, that's probably true. I think he is. MAGA loves to grape. That's true. Come on the show, guys. Anybody who wants to come on now. Here is something that should piss off everybody. Scott Bessent was just in front of Congress today. Yeah, Derek, don't be a pussy. Come on. Thank you, Uncle Salty. Scott Bessent, this should piss off every American because Donald Trump is suing, right? Because they like released his tax returns or some shit. He's suing the IRS for $10 billion. And do you know where that $10 billion comes out of? Us. Not Republicans, not Democrats. I mean, it is, but Americans, our hard-earned tax dollars. Donald Trump is going to steal $10 billion. And would you guys be okay if any president did that? Because I'm not listening to that.
We touched on this earlier. In addition to being Treasury Secretary, you are serving as acting director of the IRS. So following up on Senator Kim's questioning, so you are fully aware that the president is suing your agency for $10 billion. Yeah. We would agree. Would you agree that $10 billion is a good sum of money?
Yes, sir.
Where would that be cut from? Let's say for some reason he actually wins that lawsuit. Where would that $10 billion come from?
Again, it would come from...
process-wise. I'm not asking like your opinion whether it's right or wrong.
It would come from Treasury.
It comes from Treasury, which comes from the general fund?
The Treasury general account.
So taxpayers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Part of the 440,000 taxpayers whose returns were leaked.
If the president...
Right, that's it. Did you guys hear that? The $10 billion, it comes from us. Is everybody okay with that? I'm not. If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Yeah, that's a quote from Trump. That is so eerie and disgusting. It was also revealed that Bessent sent a letter to his investors warning them that tariffs wouldn't bring back manufacturing. Exactly. I saw that the other day, too. I mean, I see some people, these dumb, duped. I won't say dumb, duped MAGAs, because like I said in the title, MAGA was lied to. The tariffs, we pay for the tariffs. It's not how they explained it that, oh, other people pay for it. No, it's us. Oh, this is good. Your voice reminds me of my mother-in-law. Can't stand her either. Nice, Richard. I'm sure your mother-in-law loves you too. Hey, Richard. Richard, come on to the show and let me hear your voice so I can judge your voice. Again, what's so funny is you guys call me all these names in the comments, but nobody has the balls to come on the show. Yeah, Scott Bessent's always, he has that creep. They all do. Mike, I can't stand Mike Johnson's face when he just smiles. And whenever he lies, he looks down at, I hate Mike Johnson's smile. If you pay taxes, you give a fuck. Yeah, I think maybe most of these MAGAs in here don't pay taxes because they're literally, why should Donald Trump be, and he's like, I'm going to give it all to charity, 100% right. Why should he be able to take $10 billion from us? Is it crazy? Are you guys okay with that, MAGA? Talk about some real issues. Nutcase going out, impeding law enforcement. Your estrogen just won't let you admit it. Beta cuck. Yeah, that's what you guys all say. You guys need to come up with some new names. Like MAGA is so unoriginal. It's like you guys all get handed the same 5 names to call people. It's so dumb and sad. Besant formerly made $32 million a year running a mutual fund that lost billions for his investors. Yeah, and Scott Bessant's gay, and none of you guys seem to care about that because you guys are all such homophobes. MAGA cannot process that the $10 billion, yes, comes from the, yeah, that's the thing. MAGA, you are okay with giving Trump $10 billion of our money. Just say yes or no in the comments. This is your brain on CNN. Come in on the show and talk to me in the real life. Now, let's move on. Melania. The Melania movie was a total bomb. I went and exposed it for the Midas Touch, and there was nobody in the theater. I was literally in the theater all by myself. And then Melania had the nerve to have 2 hostages that they, one was a wife, and then the husband was just released. And like, she invites them to the White House to do a promo for her freaking movie, which is a total bomb. They're totally lying. Allegedly, check this video out.
Is appropriate to use an official White House event to promote your documentary?
So I asked the First Lady that question because at today's White House event, she encouraged people to go see her film for more on her initial meeting with Aviva Siegel. And I'm hearing major concerns from ethics experts and hostage advocates about that.
This is not promotion. We are here celebrating.
This is so funny, and I'll stop this. Liberal tears are so delicious. You see, you're okay with your 10 billion. It's so funny. Like, I don't care to own any of you guys to like lose my money. Okay. I would rather not lose money than own anybody. I really don't care. So Jay Dizzle, come on the show and have the balls and say it to my face.
The release of the hostages of Aviva and Keith. They were in Washington, D.C. They called me. They said they would like to come over to thank me and to give hugs, and that's why we are here. It has nothing to do with promotion.
Back in January of 2025, Melania Trump said,
we pay for the Somalian fraud, and it's much more. You really think so? You think Somalians are in our country are a bigger problem than the billionaire elite pedos? I mean, come on. I think that's not right.
Sat down for a meeting with Aviva Siegel. She is a freed hostage of Hamas who was advocating at the time for the release of her husband, Keith. And that moment was a major scene in the First Lady's New York.
No, he didn't. He did not. Did you see the interview where they said, Donald, what do you think you and your daughter have in common? His daughter says like business and golf. And he says, well, I was going to say sex. Can you explain that one away too? You guys just can't accept that Donald Trump allegedly could be a pedo that could be on the Epstein list. And you guys just can't give up your I mean, it's so crazy to see that you're okay with kids being harmed over admitting that MAGA's all a lie. That's crazy to me. That you've lost me there.
Documentary, which came out just last week. And Trump noted that as the Siegels came to the Blue Room for a visit.
It was an emotional meeting, and it is captured on camera and available to see in my new film, Melania.
And I also want to end by congratulating you on the release of your movie.
Congratulate? Why? This guy just got out of like a hostage situation. And you guys don't think there's a promo? Like he goes, I want to congratulate you on your movie. It's it's disgusting to use these people.
So much looking forward to seeing it, and so grateful for you deciding to have Aviva be a part of your movie. Thank you.
Now, it's not illegal for a sitting First Lady to profit from her office. Trump signed a roughly $40 million deal with Amazon MGM Studios for this film, nor is it illegal for her to personally promote it in the White House.
Now, you guys are acting dumb. He didn't take anything from us, of course, MAGA, because you couldn't accept that. But let me play you this again. Please make sure to listen close where, if the lawsuit goes through, where that $10 billion is coming from.
You know, we kind of touched on this earlier. In addition to being Treasury Secretary, you are serving as acting director of the IRS. So following up on Senator Kim's questioning, so you are fully aware that the president is suing your...
Cheryl, you're saying I don't work? I mean, libtards? What about Republican tards? What do you do, Cheryl? Do you have, what do you got? That's such a dumb statement, but come on the show, Cheryl. Come on the show and let's talk. Because that's a funny thing. Like all the libtards have no problem coming on the show and talking to me, but it's only the Republican tards and the people like this who have Trump to come talk to me about my Trump derangement syndrome. Nobody has the guts to come on the show. No, Democrats are falling apart and losing our minds. No, there's no Democrats. There's no Republicans. It's us versus them. How about your button? Other money at his family inherited from Ukraine and oil. It's all the doo-ba-doo. He was asked what they share in common, him and his daughter. Trump said sex. Who says they have that in common with their own daughter? Exactly. But again, MAGA will say anything to explain away all his disgusting behavior. Even they're down for incest, I guess. But that's not too far from the tree. Because did you guys hear, do you know how to circumcise a redneck? Punch his daughter in the jaw. You ever heard that one? That's creepy. You don't talk about your daughter like that. No, people who do talk about their daughter like that are pedophile supporters. It's really sad. You keep talking about calling into your show, but never takes any calls. Anybody. There's nobody here. Come on to the show, Bernard. The link is there. Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny too. Why not? Okay, there's fraud in all states, but why are they not looking at red states, you know? You guys are saying there's no fraud in any state? 75 million MAGA cult clowns got duped by a child rapist monster diaper shitting bozo. Yep. The best part about YouTube's I can block more on the like. Bye-bye. Okay, so sad. I will miss you. We don't need names. We know you are crazy. Got it. Go to lay down, mutt. Yes, thank you, Richard. These cult followers would give up their own children to diarrhea diapers. Yeah, that's the truth. No proof of Trump being a pedo. Biden showered with his daughter. Yeah, we've heard this, Cheryl. We've heard this. Cheryl, Trump's name was mentioned over 5,000 times in the Epstein files. Don't you think if he had nothing to do with it, he would be like, yeah, here it is. And then why is he protecting pedos? Why is he protecting Bill Clinton? Right? If they have information on these people, why is he protecting Bill Clinton? I don't want, Bill Clinton's a friend. Bill Clinton's a friend? And he supposedly went to the island 28 times? Are you kidding me? That's not a friend. We didn't give any money to Trump. Oh my, you guys, he's suing for $10 billion. If he wins that, we are the ones who flip the bill. Cheryl, come on the show and I can explain it to you a little better. We don't care about someone being homosexual. We just don't need to be a part of it. Okay, that kind of sounds like you feel. Yeah, let people be who they are. 74 million morons got duped by a diaper wearing shit-heel pedo. That's kind of factual. Now, if you don't believe me, listen to your godmother, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I think people are realizing it was all a lie. It was a big lie for the people. What MAGA is really serving is, in this administration, who they're serving is their big donors, the big donors that donated all the money and continue to donate to the president's PACs and donate to the 250th.
And what does he need money for? What does any billionaire need money for? Are you that? Come on, Cheryl, come on the show. Let's talk. You obviously need to talk.
Anniversary or donating to the big ballroom. And if they're donating to all these things, those are the people that get the special favors. They get the government contracts. They get the pardons or somebody they love or one of their friends gets a pardon. And it's the foreign countries that are running the show here. It's the major big corporations.
Yep.
And what is best for the world. That's really what MAGA is. That's the results. That's what we're seeing after one full year of MAGA.
Yep. Oh my God, guys, this is my biggest live feed to date. I've got almost 400 people up in this live. Thank you guys so much. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it moving. This show is hot. It's hot like
the Democrats do.
Oh,
All
yeah.
of his friends were Democrats.
Okay.
You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, they're all Democrats. I believe that many of the people some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown.
Okay, so if it's all Democrats that are involved with Epstein, why not take all these Democrats down? If they're pedos, they go to jail and they die. Now, for anybody wondering how to come on the show, hold on, I'm trying to, god dang, there's so many comments here, I can't even, man, this live feed is belizzoing up. Here you guys go. All you do, copy and paste that, put it into your browser and come on the show and talk some shit. Let's go. How are they paying you to spew lies? Nobody is paying me anything except the websites. Tell me what I'm lying about. Come on the show and tell me. Do you guys see? Here it is. There is the link to come on the show. Let me put it back up on so you guys can see it. Yep, there you go. Come talk to my face. Europe still isn't as bad as America. Yeah, that's true. Trump is not delivering the amount of deportations we need. Wow, you need more? None of MAGA read any files. That logic goes both ways. Epstein was murdered. Exactly. I believe that. How much are they paying you to spew lies? Yeah, you already said that. Cheryl, come on to the show. Come on to the show and let's see it. Here it is. There's the link again in the comments. Again, I don't see anybody popping up in the feed. Where are you guys? I just don't see anybody having the balls to come. Come on. Come on and talk to me. Copy and paste it. And then you can come on the show. And I just farted in your general direction. Thank you. New Zealand all day, baby. Good eye. Good to see you guys there. We need more deportations, dumb liberal. Got it. Okay. I mean, do you guys know, like, you guys want housing prices to go down? Who's going to build the houses? We've deported everybody who really can build the houses. Again, I don't see anybody coming on the show. There's nobody down there who has the balls. So I will continue until
Rage in Texas over this
Did you guys see
video.
this? This is a typical maggot. This 47-year-old man attacked a female in high school. All right. And then what's great is he got his ass kicked by a bunch of high school kids, and then he got arrested.
That police say shows 45-year-old Chad Michael Watts assaulting a teenage girl during a student anti-ICE protest.
From what we're told, the adult stopped at the stoplight and rolled down his window. The juvenile female in question and the male were yelling back and forth at each other. The female went and kicked the male's truck. He got out, and then that's when the physical altercation happened.
Watts, who police say was the primary aggressor,
high
seen
school
here
girl.
appearing to
That's
lunge
what
at
you
the young
MAGAs
woman.
are. You wear your
A fight breaks
stupid
out,
red hat.
and then
They're really a KKK
chaos.
hat. And he
As a
picked a
second
fight.
video shows other students jumping in. The incident, the latest amid nationwide student
love
walkouts
those
protesting
kids.
against ICE.
Shout out to those kids, man. Now, the link is still up to come on the show. Anybody, come on. Nobody has the guts. Even, hey, guys, like just some of you normal people, come on the show. Come on the show and talk. I'll give you guys an opportunity to tell you a thing. I love being called a bot by people who can't accept another opinion. I can accept another opinion. And what I really want is somebody who does have a differing opinion to come on the show and let's talk about it. You can only get through this if you talk about it. Why are these people here watching and still talking shit? Somebody said J Ball's goofy. Because didn't you ever hear Howard Stern? The people who hated Howard Stern watched for 2 hours. The people who loved him only watched for an hour. So people love to hate me, and it makes my live feed even stronger. You don't have to explain nothing to anyone who gets mad over you standing up against evil. Thank you, Lady Dagkias on Instagram. You're absolutely right. They asked the Indians to be here. Nope, they slaughtered them. They cry about immigrants, but vote in a rapist. Well, here's what I think. You guys are all complaining about illegal immigrants, and Melania is an illegal immigrant. She came in on an Einstein, and I can't even say it. She came in on an Einstein visa pass, which is only for Olympic athletes or people who have won like the Nobel Peace Prize. Like, she's here illegally. So Cheryl, anybody can't copy and paste it from the phone, it seems. What you can do, you should be able to, or just type it in and then copy and paste it, but you should be able to. So come on the show, Andrew. I really appreciate it. I'll paste it in there again. Does that allow you to copy and paste it? Queef Latina. I'm not sure that Epstein was murdered. Yep. He knew too much. Exactly. And he had it on everybody. He did. What time is it? We're at about 2:38. Guys, this is Samson's World, where court, comedy, culture, and your world collide. Hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Here's something that I find really funny. This just goes to show more lies of MAGA. Is ICE. Did you guys see ICE people are not even getting paid? And the 50 grand that they were promised is it's not even real. Where is this one I got here? Don't expect much. It's like $6,000 after taxes, and they put it in the regular paycheck, so you end up paying about $4 to $5K in taxes on one check. Didn't even get paid, yes, for my base check. So, I mean, they're not even paying these idiot Gestapo to terrorize their own citizens. Been here for about 2 months, still waiting for my health insurance. Is anyone having that issue as well? I chose BCBS Basic. MSS told me they don't know how long it will take, and I have a sick daughter with no insurance. You just cannot make this shit up. It's laughable. It's kind of sad, but not really, because they chose to go after their own citizens. Man, Monday is 4 weeks since I started and I haven't been paid yet. That's all they do is lie. Uh-oh, Joy entered. Okay, we got somebody who came on. I will bring you on. Joy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Jay, I'm sorry, not Joy. Jay, how are you doing? Thank you for having the guts and the spine to come on my show and chat with me. What would you like to say? Oh, and there he just went. Oh, hold on. We got James in the mix. I'm gonna see. James, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. James, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. I mean, I'm not gonna call you names or anything, but
please.
you're free to say what.
You can call me a name.
No, that's not civil. I
Good.
just want to kind of point out a lot of the hypocrisy of a lot of things that are going on.
Sure.
When you do divisive language, like just labeling someone a pedophile without due process or evidence coming through, right now it's all speculation.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't label anyone a pedophile without there being pretty hard evidence, because that's probably the worst thing you can call somebody in the world.
It is the worst. And I totally agree with you on that, James. That's a very good point. I totally agree with that.
It's replaced the Hitler comment. But the thing that I see with a lot of the hypocrisy that goes on is labeling whether you're left or right. You support pedophiles or anything like that. When just recently there's been bills passed that Democrats have supported to allow sexual abusers access to closer proximity to schools and other things. And that was just March of this year. So it's kind of hypocritical when you turn around and say that, and then you allow drag queens into schools and what appears to be grooming of children, introducing that kind of stuff to children when they don't understand sexuality at a young age.
Yeah.
And I just find it very hypocritical. And I understand somebody gets a name on the list in the Epstein files, everybody goes full board. But the question everybody should be asking, how many other names are on that list and how many other times are other people mentioned? If Trump was overwhelmingly the person mentioned the most on the list, then you may have a case. But when you negate the fact that when you look at the media, stop covering it. And I believe, and this is my point of view, they stopped covering it because they found out a bunch of leftist Hollywood celebrities were on it. And other Democrat supporters. So it was no longer a non-starter. But when you attack the list looking for one individual, that's a cult. That's a problem. You're
Yeah.
not looking at the benefit of those girls that were molested. You're
Right.
on a witch hunt for one person at that point in time. And I just don't, it null and void your argument. It's like, well, we look out for children and pedophiles. No, you're looking for dirt on one person.
Right.
And that,
Yeah, I totally agree with you, James. Like literally everything you just said, James, I totally agree with you on. And that's why I try to say on my show, you know, I'm shedding this, oh, I'm a Democrat or a Republican, because I think it takes us all apart. Like you just said, yeah, if you're just trying to like, and that's kind of my point. You know, if you know, that, you know, like say Trump will say, oh, Clinton's all over it. He's all, well, then take him down. Do not protect him. You know what I mean?
correct.
Or I personally feel whoever is on that list, take them down. You know what I mean? I have no love for anybody. And yeah, go ahead.
I'm a MAGA supporter, but if he's found guilty, send his ass to jail.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cover for somebody who's a criminal, but when you build up arguments like a 34-time felon, we all know those were frivolous lawsuits that have never been tried with anybody else. And that was a gotcha to try to get them before the election. Notice they had years of going, they could have gone after Trump. The only time they go after him is 2016. Or what was it? Not 2016. When he ran the first time. Yeah, 2016 and 2024. You had all this time. It's like it stinks of the Brett Kavanaugh case. You're gonna come after somebody 40 years after the fact and say all of a sudden this happened. It's like, really? It couldn't be the fact that he's running for Supreme Court now that this witch hunt came out. Now, if stuff came out in the interim and somebody's not running for office and all these things are happening, I would be 100% implied to agree with like, yeah, maybe there's something there. But whenever it's like this person's running for office, now all of a sudden it's like, we just managed to find dirt. And it's based upon hearsay and third-party information. Right there, you lost me. I'm sorry, it's gone. I don't care if they're attacking a Democrat or a Republican. It's out the window. I don't like it. And I think we're so divided as a country that we make emotional arguments instead of anything logical anymore. When you're emotionally invested into something, no amount of truth convince you otherwise that something's wrong. Now, you made up a point where Trump getting to $10 billion, I don't support him getting $10 billion of taxpayer money. Just the same way I did not support George Floyd's family getting $10 million for a drug addict getting killed in the street who was a violent offender. And then they awarded the family as member. You know who should not get the money? The family. That's a group of people that failed him and turned their back on this poor guy his entire life with no help in and out of prison. And then they reward the people who let this poor guy slide into the abyss. If anybody's going to look out for you, it should have been the family. They didn't care about that man one bit in his life until he became a paycheck when he died. And that's what I can't understand with people that go out there on these crusades against attacking people. It's horrible with the things that happen in Minnesota. But when you turn around and look at the individuals that it happened, these are people with massive run-ins in the law. Not saying they should have been shot.
Sure.
But
and how do you feel about the Alex Preddy situation? Just seeing as that, you know, he did have a gun, but we don't see much evidence that he brandished it. You know, where are you stand like with just in like the Second Amendment kind of argument? What do you think about that?
100% allowed to have a gun. He's allowed to have a gun when it happened. The problem that I have with it is the moment you became an obstructionist and involved police, if you look at the regulations that require concealed carry, the moment you interfere with law enforcement or anything like that, you are now criminally holding that gun. You're not allowed to interject yourself into a situation, especially with law enforcement doing their job. Granted, you may not agree with it, but at that point, you're illegal. It's the same premise as if you went into a bar with a concealed carry. That is illegal. You cannot drink alcohol or go into an establishment that serves alcohol and carry a sidearm. Yes, you have the right to carry it, but once you enter yourself into that situation, it's illegal. And it's the whole same thing. You can have a gun going into a business, but the moment you brandished it in front of the clerk, it's armed robbery. Now it's illegal. Same premise.
And how do you feel about like the tactics of ICE. You know, I personally, I think I think the way they're like, I almost think like if their tactics are so hardcore and just ripping, you know, I personally don't believe that if I'm walking down the street, constitutionally, nobody has the right to come up to me and say, "Are you an American citizen?" You know, and I think the part, or you know, kind of to your point, if they're going to send ICE, and you know, they're clearly sending ICE into Democratic blue states. So if they, or like say the fraud issue, people say, oh, Minnesota or California. I live here in Los Angeles. Of course, there's fraud in Los Angeles. There's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? But I guess what I would like to see is like, let's apply it to everywhere. Like if they were going into Louisiana, you know, Mike Johnson's, or Oklahoma or other red states and doing the same things.
I don't agree.
know?
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. If you're going to hunt fraud, hunt it all over the place.
Thank
But
you.
the problem is, if you find a massive amount of fraud and then you want to sit there and build a straw man argument saying they're only going after me here, well, you go where the fish are. You know, when you're going to do an investigation. Now, if they uncover massive fraud in another area, then by golly, go investigate it. But you can't turn around and say, well, we just uncovered $9 billion of fraud, so now go somewhere else and look at it. It's like, whoa, we'll pump the brakes here. We got to go find out what the hell's going on here in the first place. Because just like the Trump scenario, I don't want to see him getting $10 billion of taxpayer money.
Right.
Just as I don't want to see anybody who's committing a crime, you know, committing fraud, receiving any of my money either. So that's the same thing. But when we try to draw the lines, it's like, well, these people, and you get into even the further arguments, is like, nobody's illegal on stolen land. Okay, cool. But if you're going to run the premise that there should be no borders, how can it be on stolen land if there's no such thing as borders?
Well, you know, I think when people say stolen land, it's kind of a general statement of, you know, we all know Native Americans were here first, and then obviously, you know, white Europeans came over, and you know, but people have been colonizing places for all of time. It's nothing. It's nothing new, but you know,
it's not new to the U.S. Every place has been founded on conquest or conquest. So it's either you were forcefully taken over or it was exploration. And you got to understand, we don't live in the same times that we lived back then. There were no borders. There was wandering nomadic tribes. They warred with each other. They kept slaves with each other, but you know, capturing other slaves. But we want to go into the myth of what they called the noble savage. I mean, there's nothing noble about it, nor were we that noble when we came here either. There were tactics used, doing everything else. But we have to understand the world was much more violent back then. And if you wanted something, you took it. It's just like the Greenland thing where we make fun of Trump saying he's going to purchase Greenland. A lot of people don't realize that 5 other times in U.S. history, other presidents have tried to acquire Greenland.
I didn't know that.
And then for Denmark to come out and say, we're not going to sell a territory to the U.S., well, guess what? We own the U.S. Virgin Islands. You sold it to us. So when they come out there with saying, you know, we're not going to sell anything, you know, the vast majority of the U.S. was purchased. Louisiana purchased. Alaska, Sherman's Folly, or you've got all these other things. U.S. Virgin Islands. We purchased the Philippines and gave it back to the Philippines. We bought it from the Spanish. A lot of people are dangerously ignorant to the past of this country, but they want to go out there and make arguments as to, like, you know, oh, this is how it is. It's like, well, golly gee, guys, we purchased a lot of it. Yeah, we had settlers come here and do that and whatnot. But if you look at history, Jesus, everything was either conquest or exploration, and then the indigenous, whoever was less technologically advanced, lost, or either they brought in the diseases that wiped out the other ones that they weren't intolerant to. So it's just funny. I just don't like seeing when we come out, and I understand you're skewed towards a more of a liberal mindset. I get it. But when you start labeling entire groups as, you know, they're the pedophiles, or they're cultists and all this stuff.
And I hope you think, I hope you think when I say, you know, say if I say, and when I'm saying pedos, I'm really talking about everybody. I'm not saying just go after the Republicans, or I'm saying whoever, if it's anybody in Hollywood go after him. And I think you bring up a good point, say with like the Somalian fraud that, I think the issue with that, of course, there's probably Somalians committing fraud, but there's also a lot of hardworking Somalians who are not committing fraud. And so I think it's, you brought up a good point. It's very anywhere in life. Like I'm Jewish, there's Jewish people who commit fraud. There's Latinos, there's gay people, there's white people, like there was this woman, Amy Koch, in Minnesota who she's a white woman and she stole like $250 million. And so I just think, the danger is it's unfortunately just because some people do it, you can't say everybody does it. And to your point, just because some liberals might be crazy and think something, I can't then hate all liberals. Or, I have MAGA, my wife just went to Atlanta to visit my in-laws. They're all MAGA, but and I hate to see when I saw Jimmy Kimmel's wife was like, I had to get rid of some of my MAGA family. And somebody said a good point, which was interesting. They say, and maybe this is not true, that some MAGA are not giving up their family because they're liberal or, and I don't think you should, just because we have a difference in opinions on things. And I really appreciate your dialogue here. You're, I can tell you're a smart guy. And that's why I like that people come on the show and actually talk, because it's so easy, like we said, to call names in the comments, but this is how we heal the country. It doesn't help me to talk to somebody who agrees with me. It's good to talk to somebody like yourself. We have differences of opinions, so we can meet in the middle.
Yeah, the one thing that I did notice over the years, I'm 45. I'm not that old, at least I don't think I am. But over the years, is what absolutely killed, I think, the culture and politics in this country is the news media. The news used to be just an hour, 30-minute slot at night.
Yeah.
They would give you they tell you what happened, and they would allow you to come up with the reasonable conclusion as to what the story was about. When the news became 24/7, you now no longer had the news. You had political pundits. You had people giving their opinion-based politics in there. And that's where everything changed. So it became an us versus them, my opinions versus yours. And it never became about the facts. It became about how can I skew this to my point.
Agreed. Then when you realize who owns the network, you know what I mean? Then you're being told. And that's what, that's why I think is so great about independent journalism. People like myself, like I'm a stand-up comedian. Who has been kind of thrust into this because I realize nobody trusts for really the first time in history, like you said, like it used to be, hello, I'm Walter Cronkite, and here's what happened, not here's what happened and here's what I feel about it, and I know I give my opinion on it. I'm not here just delivering news. I'm delivering news, but I'm also giving my opinion on it based on my experience. And I agree. I think media is a big problem. And also one thing, I didn't like Joe Biden. I've never really loved any American president. Like I liked Obama. Just like I liked his personality. He seemed like a cool guy. He seemed like a good family man. Maybe people might hate, oh, he did this, he did, all US presidents have blood on their hands. But what I would like to see us get back to, which I don't love about Trump, like say, for example, Caitlin Collins was asking about Epstein. He's like, you know what? You should smile more. She never, like, I just don't like to see our president insulting people. Cause like I have sons and daughters and like you see, if you were talking to me like that, the conversation wouldn't have gone this long. You know what I mean? So I really wish any president that we can get back to like just diplomacy. You know what I mean? Even like Bush, I never really liked Bush at all, but I don't like hearing our president call people stupid. I hate seeing a man talk down to a woman. So I really wish that, and we're all doing it. You know what I mean? You hear like, haven't you noticed how much they're cussing now? Like I've heard Trump say, fuck this. I've heard
it's
heard,
all of them. It's all of them now.
I've heard like Hakeem Jeffries, like Chuck Schumer. Like, I think that's the thing. If we all realize like the Chuck Schumers of the world, the Nancy Pelosi, like pretty much all politicians are on the same side and they're all rich. They're all getting rich off of us while we're fighting, hating each other, not realizing that we actually have way more in common than we do with them.
Oh yeah, as George Carlin said, it's all part of the big game, man. We ain't in
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
the big club. So it's funny. There's a lot of things that I could kind of skew like in favoritism. I'm
Of course.
more the fact when it comes to fiscal conservatism, I'm
Hmm.
100% there. But I'm on the other side. If when it comes to drugs or doing things with your life, if it doesn't
Hmm.
pick my pocket or break my leg, then why do I
Yeah.
have a say in it?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of how I am. I mean, even, I have gay friends, I have Latino, all kinds of friends. And my theory is like, you know what? As long as me and my family are enjoying our life, our little bubble in this world, and we're good, I don't care what you do. Like, I mean, honestly, James, if you wanna go marry whoever, if you're like, hey Sam, I'm in love with my horse, I'm like, great. I hope you're happy. You know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't bother me. I think the goal out of everyone, and I'm sure just be happy. We're here for such a short time, that I think we waste too much time worrying about what each other are doing. Now
correct.
I have some other people here on the show that want to come in. So let me hear. I think I've got Jay. Jay, it
Yep.
sounds like you've got your brother on. Are you there?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, Jay? What would you like to say today? We've got myself and James is on, and I think here's I spell this wrong. I'll bring you in.
Thank you.
What would you guys like? What would you like to say, Jay?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the conversation. I really side with a lot of what James is saying.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't label myself a Republican or a Democrat, but I would say I'm more conservative. I'm definitely a conservative leaning type of person.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to pick up on the topic of illegal immigration for a second, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think the main problem with the left, what they mainly like to leave out is the big elephant in the room. No one has a problem with illegal immigration at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, legal immigration at all.
Right.
But illegal immigration is a big problem for a couple of
Absolutely.
reasons. And I want to go to the main one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to illegal immigrants killing U.S. citizens,
yeah,
I know the argument is, well, U.S. citizens kill U.S. citizens all the time, right? That
sure,
may be true.
I would agree. Any murder illegal. I mean, I think we all agree.
We all agree.
Illegal, that goes without saying. Mm-hmm.
Let's set the standard. As decent people on both sides, we all agree murder is wrong, whoever does it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the problem with illegal immigration on that end of it is this.
Mm-hmm.
When Biden left the border open, we could consider that a administrative error.
Right.
Let's just call it what it was, because for that many people to for that many people to be able to come across, it is the rules being bent. But this is, I want to stick to the point of that. So we can call that an administrative error. So it now calls it where a death occurred due to an administrative error that could have been avoided if not for that error. See, when a U.S. citizen does it, he's a citizen, he's a legal citizen as well, so we have the legal justice system to handle that. You could say it could have been avoided on a personal level, but when it's due to someone who wouldn't have been here had it not been for that clerical error. Right. So that's why when illegals murder U.S. citizen, it hits a little harder because it could have been avoided from leadership.
Of course.
What Trump is doing, people have an issue with the way he's doing it, but we can't even pinpoint the way it was done before. Like Obama didn't do anything different with deportations. He had the same guy in charge and all. Holman hasn't changed a bit.
People bring that up a lot, that he deported 3 million people. And, I think what I would say, and I've thought about, it's like, yeah, why didn't we have an issue then? And I think it's like anything in life. It's like, if I come into your house and say, hey man, do you mind if I come in? Oh, sure, Sam, come on in. Or if I kick your door down and say, I'm coming into your motherfucking house, you're like, what? I think it's all about tact. And I think that's part of the issue. And I think a lot of it is Stephen Miller. I think he's behind a lot of the cruelty of it. And I think, I would hope that all of us could agree that it's, I think ICE, it's just, I think you have a lot of these guys who are not quite as qualified. They're wearing masks, it's just the way in which they're like, if I was personally in charge of this, I would be like, I'm not going to put I don't want to they're creating chaos. You know what I mean? So I would just be like, look, we have the technology to know where illegal criminals are, or let's just take the time. Let's not, if somebody's protesting, let them protest. Let's not get up in their face and with ego, right? Because like if you get into a man's face and tell him to fuck off, he's going to tell you to fuck off probably. Where if you're like,
Sam,
yeah,
I have to interject on that because I agree with a lot what you're saying, but we have to take a step back for a second when we want to talk about who's causing the chaos. Now let's think of this for a second. If we take it back to the Obama days, why we didn't see this, that's because it wasn't exacerbated by the media. But you have to agree to this. When leadership in cities convince their citizens that it is all of a sudden okay to put it in the personal, put it personal. Let's say you see a police officer arresting a drug dealer, and you decide to walk up to that officer's car door or face or anything. You park your car in front of that officer to stop that arrest. What's going to happen to you as a legal citizen? This is the same thing. ICE is law enforcement. The same rules apply to us. You could talk about their training. You could talk about how we feel about this, but these are the same. We don't know if it's the same training from the Obama days. So the point I'm trying to make is this. I know that you said, why is it not happening in other cities? ICE is in every city. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. ICE is here.
And
the only issue is,
why do you think we're not? Because I guess the way just from what I feel like I'm seeing is I feel like we're seeing red states targeted for it, and it feels like, I don't know. I personally feel like the thing with Renee Good being shot, with Alex Preddy being shot. There's also, it's funny, they only mentioned the white people have been shot. There's a couple, I'm forgetting the guy's name now, of course. But I just think there's better ways to go about it. I don't think anybody needed to be shot. I understand your point of if there's a drug dealer, but what if it's somebody who's not a drug dealer? And I think that's a problem, is if they were truly just deporting the worst of the worst illegals, nobody has a problem with that.
And I think there's also a correct way to protest as well, and it's called peacefully assembly. All this getting in the road and getting in officers' faces and spitting. And come on, man, you asking for trouble.
Look, I agree.
Could I push back a little bit
also,
on this?
if we're to take it back to, I had this cartoon. Let me see if I can find this. It was from the 60s of Martin Luther King talking about peaceful protesting, and then behind him is just complete destruction. Let me bring this in real quick, because the thing I think about it is, I hear what you're saying, a peaceful, but they're, like I see all these white people, they'll bring their kids to a protest and they have all these fancy signs and all this. And I'm like, Martin Luther King never got to bring his kids to a protest. You know what I mean? It's like,
because he would never do it. He wouldn't put his children in harm's way.
Of course. And because it was, of course he was nonviolent protesting, but the truth is people don't respond unless shit gets a little crazy, and sometimes it does cause for you to really have to do things that come off looking, I guess, violent or what. I'm trying to pull up this cartoon. It's not pulling it up.
Hey, I'm going to say one more thing, and I'm going to give my time to the next person because I don't want to take over the show. But I will say this, too, about you, Sam. It's quite pleasant talk. What position would you say you lean?
I would say I always hate. I mean, I guess I voted Democrat, but the more and more I'm really trying to like shed these gang colors, of Democrat and Republicans.
Right.
Like you said, you're like conservative. I always make a joke. I'm like, hey, I'm conservative with my money, but I'm liberal when I'm busting a nut. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, of course. Like,
I just want to say, man, it's very nice talking to someone from a different position who's not name calling and fight. I could guess we could both agree that on both sides, everyone's not in the same bubble, because I'm a black man and I voted for Trump.
Right.
And so you could say, well, MAGA is not racist in this, because obviously you're talking to one. And I could also say, well, left-leaning people are not all deranged lunatics. Some of them does have reason and common sense. And that's all I wanted to say, Sam.
Yeah, and one thing before you go, let me just say, I mean, some liberals are just as racist. Like, I always crack up people who I always make a joke, like people who have a Black Lives Matter poster in their yard, most times don't have black people to their house. You know what I mean? So I think
right.
white liberals all the time are like, oh yeah, and this black mother and her son was shot. And I was like, but how many black friends do you actually have? You know, like if you know me, I've been in the black comedy community my entire career. So funny enough, I have way more black friends than I do white friends. I actually don't even have that many white friends out here in LA anymore. But
I can believe it.
And because I've had so many different, relations and stuff, like, I was with Donnell Rawlings. I don't know if you know him, Ashley Larry from Chappelle Show. We were in St. Louis and we got pulled over. And I'm just like talking to these cops, like, man, what did you pull me over? And Donald's like, Sam, quit talking to them like that. I'm like, Donnell, chill, I got this shit. But he was terrified. Joke. You know what I mean? He was terrified and he couldn't believe how I was talking to the police. And I'm like, because I'm white. I know, you know what I mean? I've had enough black friends that are like, yo, when I get pulled over, there are differences. And I just think, the more diverse friendships you have, the more you hear like somebody else's experience. Like, for example, I remember in high school, this kid in my class is like, he was like, man, I couldn't go to sleep last night because they were shooting the bullets in my neighborhood and I had to sleep on the floor. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Nobody's shooting bullets. What do you, he's like, not in your rich neighborhood, Sam.
Right.
And I was like, oh. And it was like, it was kind of the first time I had a little epiphany that like I grew up affluent. And just because my neighborhood, that doesn't happen, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen in other people's neighborhoods. And so I think that's why I think history is so important. Because the more you understand somebody's history, like if my dad hit me and I hit my son, you can't just blame me. You understand my history because that's what I learned from my father. And I think it's just important that we all look at each other's past so we can understand each other a little better.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. And this is why I love having you guys come on the show, because that's the thing. We all call names in the comments and all this. But like if we're actually as men talking to each other, like, we're just we find that we actually have a lot more in common. And I'm not some crazy, like I said, I realize half the people, like the guy from the Bull, were like all these white liberals be like, they act like they're sticking up. But again, when was the last time you had anybody of Latino, gay, black, Jewish, whatever in your home, like that your kids play together? A lot of white people are like, I'm not racist. I know Tim at work. Well, that's the only one. And do you know Tim is having to act white around all you guys? You know what I mean? And assimilated culture. I played like Monday D-Rays, the Hollywood Improv last Monday, all black room. And like so many white comics would be like, they're too scared to go. They're like, why would you be scared to be in an all black room? Like, don't you understand that the black experience is mostly having to go into all white rooms, And I think
9 times out of 10, those are the ones with the Black Lives Matter shirts.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't experience that from MAGA. I'm sorry, man. I have never experienced anything racist from that side. But I have experienced it from the left. And even from my own race on the left.
Yeah. I imagine. Yeah. I mean, look, we all do. I mean, I'll get it. People say, oh, Sam, you're not Jewish enough. Or I've heard people say, oh, you're not really black because this and that. Or Sam, you're not really white. It's just everybody's just got so many, so much bullshit. And at the end of the day, we all just want our groceries to be cheap. We want our families to be happy. I want to be able to afford, pay all my bills. I want to have work so I can, you know what I mean? And I think we all agree on that. And I think these politicians really have done a great job in getting in all of our heads. And I think the more we kind of push that out and get back to the days where we don't idolize U.S. presidents, you know what I mean? Like,
we talk to each other.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I really love this conversation. I got to actually get going. I got to pick up my kids at school. But you guys are always welcome anytime to come on the show. I do this 6 days a week. And this is really my goal, is to bridge this gap. Because like you heard our conversation today, and it sounds like you and I could probably sit down and have a beer and fucking laugh at a bar for a long time and not even worry about any of this shit. Right?
Well, you just definitely gained the follower, man. I'll be tuning in.
Thank you so much. And you can see me. I'm going to be on Comics Unleashed actually pretty soon here. And so just check it out. I always do all kinds of comedy, and I'm a stand-up comedian. I have a show, Samson's World, on Amazon Prime. So, I like to let people see my comedy over all, the serious conversations, but I know these are conversations we have to have.
Definitely. And nice to
Yeah.
meet you and nice talking with you.
Yeah, thanks, James. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you guys all for coming on the show. We'll be back tomorrow, so make sure you guys come on back, and we'll, that's how we're gonna do it, one conversation at a time, and is how we heal each other. All right, guys, this is Samson's World, where court comedy and culture collide. See, guys, you see what we did here today? We're not all that different, right? And thank you guys for the healthy dialogue, because I'm learning from you guys. I don't know it all. And I don't pretend to know it all. And if I'm right about something, I have no problem. I think the greatest thing a man or a woman can do is recognize when you're wrong and be like, I'm wrong, but I'm sorry. And let me learn from you and let's move on. And I think if we can all do that more, the more beautiful our country would be. So I love you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Follow me at Secret Service Sam on everything. Secret Service Sam out. Samson for president of the world.
Can you freestyle rap at all?
Not yet.
Doesn't it appear to be extremely coincidental that you guys arrest people right outside of Governor Newsom's press conference? Is this really just a show of power?